So I'm going to start introducing our first performer. Holly Rhiannon escaped Winnipeg 7 years ago. Escaped. I have heard some pretty terrible things. So I'm not doubting her. She escaped Winnipeg 7 years ago and she's been in Montreal since. I found out her day job, which I would like to talk to her more about. She is the mistress of erotica on YouPorn.
Yeah.
Promoting erotic fiction, I assume?
Yeah.
Yeah? I read a lot of erotic non-fiction. Ah, excellent. During COVID, Holly started a YouTube channel, Holly Rhiannon. I think she has a fucking gorgeous aesthetic. We've never met. She's an artist I reached out to blindly after seeing her on Montreal. Wait, forget the box. Forget the box. Check that out, guys. Great website. And I reached out, and I'm really glad to have Holly here with us tonight. So everyone, make a lot of fucking noise for Holly Rhiannon.
I'm incredibly introverted. Let's just start there. So I have done some modeling on the stage, but I've never actually done spoken word. So this is a first time. As mentioned, I started my YouTube channel during COVID, so I've been working on putting my work out there a little bit more, but this will be a first. So you can listen to me pour my heart out in the form of poetry right now, and if you would like to follow me after on my YouTube channel, you can find me at Holly Rhiannon. So my poems, I don't like to give a lot of explanation behind them. I think that you can sort of understand what they're about, but I generally like to leave them a bit open for interpretation. So the first one I am going to start with is simply called 323. Time moves differently these days, aching, floating, careening headlong into gut-wrenching unreality. A comfortable discomfort I haven't felt in eternity. How can days feel like months counting down? I've got nostalgia for a time that hasn't happened yet. A time when fingers touch skin, lips to lips. I'm already there with you, though not physically so, I promise. I feel you as I slip into blackness, on me, in me as I strain in these long nights. This isn't something that you can take back. We're made of the same things, you and I, the stuff of cold mornings and desolate highways, sleepless nights and endless searching, existing in the hours where the rest of the world does not. Our equation is not yet solved, but with every moment that passes, head rushing, heart beating for this 16 months and overnight, the words pour from me now like blood honey, and nothing has ever quite felt so vital as this sweet suffering, this waiting for you. Thank you. I'll let you know that while I like to write about love and soppiness, I also like to write about death, which is not that unique, I'm certain, but I like to give a bit of a warning. Excellent. So this next poem is a little bit darker, and it's called Dear Barbara. Dear Barbara, it was your name I heard when my head hit the cement. Blood and guts and thoughts of sin slamming me again and again, beat me down again, I said. Eyeliner stamping pavement, stamping sanity, infection, dull, gray. Gray street slicked with rain, mirror that reflects my pain, wretched world echoing in my head. Bodies litter the streets, 3:33 a.m. Nothing of importance. I tell myself, fuck God, heaven is behind a screen on a darkened web page, I can be seen. But you could be my Bonnie. Flask in hand, lifeblood in this night, whiskey numbing terror drives, you don't see me, but I see you. Abusive man, what could I do? She bleeds and pleads and kneels for you. She breaks her back, life dreams for you. Respect women, you fucking animals. The basement beckons, burning rage for Juliet. Panic, comfort in my hand, blindness in blood and peace in pain, lust in dead eyes I may never see again. Sirens, a haunting melody, can bring to an end my insanity. A burn in my arm, my world it ignites, high on life for the very first time. Adrenaline rush as I stare at my work, panicked liars, empty deception. I feel nothing but the dark and the cold, abusers, destructive, psychotic, sad, tired, disturbed, deranged, demoralized. The cold metal on my temple, and the rest is silence. This next one is called Aquarium. I remember when we touched souls with long fish fingers, glittering, thin and agile, distorted, glowing and twitching outside our watery world. The colorful feel of your defined scale skin, hearts beating in unison. To think that such a long time of closeness could have unwittingly left so much open, unanswered. But there it was, in the neon aurora borealis on the dirty dance floor, the next step. Not taken strongly or with much confidence, just with a sublime knowing and twirling in Art Nouveau spirals. When did I become my photos, my poetry, my paints? When did everything I create stare back at me with bright eyes asking for explanation? Why, when you did not know, did you make me? How I'd remake it all and give it life, new life, with this clear embrace of solid, steady breath. We weave in and out of bubbling castles, changing temperatures, comfort and discomfort all at once in this one glimmering landscape. Fantasy and long journeys suspended in still metal flakes in the sky, my story of the stars. They whisper it at night to me, but I only just started listening. Flushed ruby sequin cheeks. There's no place like home, but I'm too far down the rabbit hole to look back. Buried in this earthen calm, I'm flying, breaking out of this too long cocoon and seeing for the first time, but the glass keeps me from my true revelation. The glass, though so clear, visible, and perfect, will always stop me short. Walls will always be so sugar sweet. From escaping and really being what I am inside the water, thick, pulsing water, calm, soothing, sleepy water, maddening. I would break this glass if only my hands were useful. They no longer want to work for me. If I want to bring this world outside, a slither in my mind tells me to choose. Choose one or the other, and I can't breathe. So this one is called Graveyard Thoughts, and I just wrote it today. I started it this week, so this is a very new piece. I may yet change it, but we'll see how it goes. I hope you like it. This is the place of flies, I remind myself, as a vibration breaks the stillness. The calm of the headstones. Carrion eaters know what lives beneath this soft earth, decay and rot, not visible on a freshly polished stone. My life has been a graveyard flower, tentative bloom reaching for a light it will never touch, roots coiled around a death that sits in the pit of me. It's coming. More so with every smile than every tear. Happiness feels stolen these days, undeserved, unexpected. It's come, and I wait only for the inevitability of its passing. My hands travel to my pulse, and my mind travels to faraway countries, countries where my blood still lives mixed with bullet casings. Do poets sit in the trench as I do by the graves? There's something to be said about the futility of an artist without a war, but ours are incomparable. My flies are drawn to wine in a water bottle, flowers pressed between paper, food wrapped in wax, and I wonder if they prefer the intoxicating aroma of decomposition. Carrion eaters will take what they can get, as will I as I sit among the graves, knowing that this is not yet my home, while the flies traverse strands of my hair, the root formation of veins on my hand. With every step they whisper that I'll be there soon. But until then, I'll fight my war upon the paper. This one is called The Other Side. I'm lost on the other side. The death feeling won't leave my stomach until your eyes lock mine. Ground me and save me. The only reason I do not need this is because we are we. I am you and you are me. And I've never felt that I missed a piece of myself until the night and the lights and the haze, the swelling and pulsing and burning and floating. I was born and finding the patterns and creation of the world, not being taught, knowing through myself and through you. I speak of you and me when this blurry haze isn't anyone and everyone. Black leads to other situations, and as the light floods back, they are just fractal memories slipping away. Black orbs roll back in the haze, flickering colors emanating on the walls from your brain, flush of cold wind as you are in this new fantasy nowhere. Wide open white until connection. And it is all touch. My mind is art, exploding universes and electric spinning euphoric. My soul is the room and the world and yours. They danced together as we stared into black, knowing each other. Detachment is pain and wonder, each change birth and being sent back comfort. We stare through the veil at the two-dimensional shadow world. It is here for us, and we could pull at one at any time and make it mine. Melding with my metal soft lips and living tongues of icy fire, cold in my throat is life. I give you this show, I give you this light. Do you enjoy my brain on the plaster? Ebbing and flowing, I give you my electric and you give me your organic. We are all me. Myself becomes a smell, a touch, a vision. We spin alone in a crowded dark hall, our minds moving above us, our eyes in liquid unison, the light beneath them. I can feel the light in myself, always warm in the cold we walk. And as I moved through the world, I became it. And the sides are no longer solid. This not there hand touches fading grains of life, shining darkness pinpointing in brown blue, and never again will I know which is mine. Thank you. This next one is called Dante. He danced for them, the tribal mass of pulsing living diatribe. They sucked the marrow from his bones and greedily tore inside, outside. Creature hidden behind rusted bars finds substance to carry through fearful nights. A life that bred insanity, chemicals bring to clarity. Now he's a god, much larger than men, looking down on the pits of want, enveloping humanity in cut arms and wanting taking never spent. This house so cold, a dirty room, to him a palace, not a tomb. And Ophelia waits at the unwanting side while fire-tongued demons fan at his pride. She waits and watches, guarding him on something more than just a whim. But people are cruel, as she always knew, and her own pride drives her from the hollow mass. But winds of spring and simpler things breathe life into the empty cracks. Always blessed with brilliance, the tumult of inheritance, a long line of those who cannot let another lead the dance. But for a time, they bask in light, warm glowing embers, no more flight. This life is how it's meant to be, open, comfort, creativity. But tides do change in the dead of night, and swirling waves make troubled minds take flight. An agent of chaos he becomes, sounding again those tribal drums. No tether, Dante's free again, to taste the sour sweet milk of sin, to drink until the water's dry. Now things he hated he will try, to shed the skin of love and pride and fill his chalice with dirt and lies, a shroud that covers the truth of the heart. Ever regressing, he returns to the start. So that's my poems, but I actually did a little piece of writing today. And we'll see how this goes. I'm trying to work on short stories and essays this year. I'm generally a young adult and new adult author, so I write sort of in long form, and I'm trying to teach myself how to write in shorter segments, and it's kind of difficult. So this is just a little bit of a thought exercise, and it's what I'm going to wrap up with, and I hope that you enjoy it. When I was a child, I wanted to feel the edges of an oil painting, the ridges that gave it texture and dimension. My mother would take me to art galleries, and we'd stare at passion hidden behind a layer of glass. She taught me to understand its importance and the need to protect it, but I still longed to run my fingers along those ridges. As I grew older, I spoke with other children until I found their ridges. I thought that once I uncovered that passion and brought it out from behind the glass, that our paintings could become a collaborative work. But soon I found that some ridges are better kept behind glass, that they were not formed from sable brush but angled knife as I ran home from school to avoid the harsh colors of their undeveloped palette. High school brought about a period in which my sole focus was on shades of black and gray. I found comfort in their dreary countenance and even connected with others who wanted to paint with the same brush. Yet, in the end, I would only be the turpentine to their Pollock, my own canvas secured behind plate glass, sitting silent on a gallery wall. Still, I chose to carry my palette of shades with me through university when on rare occasion inspiration would align and our oils would pour out in an explosion of rainbow fireworks until I felt like I could rule the world. But sometimes we apply too many layers of paint to a canvas. Worst yet, we allow others to join in on the process, not as co-collaborator, but as new master of the work, building and building until layers upon layers, and the canvas is thick and heavy and not a trace of the original painting remains. The overladen canvas will fall from the wall. I fell from the wall, colors bleeding out, filling the cracks of the hardwood gallery floor, stuck as the layers I had allowed to be built. My ridges cemented me to the lowest point. The only thing worse than being frozen behind glass on a white wall is being face down in the dirt. My 20s were a blur. I felt that my paint had dried. Though I righted myself, my canvas was a melding of unmatching colors frozen in place for the world to see. If a reviewer had taken a real look, they would have panned me, and I would not have blamed them. But I owned my dappled colors, the spatter of red that illuminated the black. I ran fingers over the imperfections, and I learned to love them. But by the age of 30, I learned that turpentine was not something to be ashamed of, that one can start over with a fresh canvas. No matter how dry our layers of paint have become, how rough our ridges may appear. One day, you will find others who have left behind an armor of dried oils to reveal their blank canvas, somewhat worse for wear, and you can build new ridges together. Ridges that do not need to be hidden behind glass, but which you can run your fingers over until you understand every stroke that went into their creation. Wow. Thank you so much.
I'm feeling more comfortable. Are you?
Yeah.
Great.